Padre Pio warned us about 3 everyday objects that could turn your home from a sanctuary into a spiritual battlefield. Are you ready to find out what they are? Greetings, brothers and sisters. Have you ever wondered why sometimes you feel that something is not quite right in your home? Have you noticed that blessings seem to not flow as they should? If you are watching this video, it is not by chance. Today I have to share with you an extremely important message that Padre Pio left us, and believe me, it could completely change the energy of your home. Before we continue, I need you to pay close attention. This message is so important that I need you to write in the comments, "I am ready to receive the protection." Do it right now, because what I'm about to reveal to you is truly urgent and necessary for you and your family. Before we dive in, drop a 1 in the comments if you're ready to transform your home, and hit subscribe to join our journey. Stick around till the end for a surprising tip you won't want to miss. Padre Pio, that great saint who dedicated his life to helping thousands of people, left us a very clear warning about objects that we must remove from our homes immediately. And no, I am not exaggerating when I say immediately. These objects may be affecting your life at this very moment without you realizing it. You know, many times we think that the difficulties in our lives, the financial problems, the illnesses that do not heal, the family conflicts that do not cease, are simply bad luck or coincidence. But Padre Pio taught us that our home is like a temple, and just as we take care to keep our house clean on the outside, we must also keep it clean on the inside. And listen, I am not talking about just anything. Padre Pio, with his wisdom and his ability to see beyond the obvious, specifically identified 3 objects that may be blocking the blessings in your home. Objects that, although they seem harmless, may be acting as real barriers to your prosperity and peace. Before I reveal what these 3 objects are, I want you to understand something fundamental. We are not talking about superstitions. We are talking about a spiritual reality that Padre Pio, with his deep connection to the sacred, was able to identify and warn us about. He knew that many times the enemy uses seemingly innocent things to enter our homes. Have you noticed lately that things in your home are not flowing as they should? Do you feel that no matter how much you pray and ask for help, something is blocking your blessings? Have you sensed that the atmosphere in your home sometimes feels heavy, even though you cannot explain why? These are signs we cannot ignore. And let me tell you something else. What I'm about to share with you today is not information you can easily find. This warning from Padre Pio has been passed down from mouth to mouth, from heart to heart, because he knew the importance of keeping our homes protected and blessed. Prepare yourself, because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes could be exactly what you have been waiting for to transform the energy of your home. We are going to discover together which 3 objects, according to Padre Pio, we must urgently remove from our homes. And remember, this message is not just for you. If you know someone who needs this information, do not hesitate to share this video, because just as Padre Pio dedicated his life to helping others, we too are called to share this wisdom with those who need it. The first object that Padre Pio warned us we must remove from our homes is broken or cracked mirrors. And no, it is not because of that old belief about 7 years of bad luck. The reason is much deeper and more significant. Imagine for a moment a broken mirror. It does not reflect the image correctly, does it? It distorts it, fragments it. Well, according to Padre Pio's teachings, in the same way, a broken mirror in your home distorts the positive energy that should flow freely in your household. Have you ever kept that broken mirror in the closet or perhaps in the basement, thinking, "I'll fix it later"? Many of us do this. But listen carefully, that broken mirror, even if it is stored away, continues to exert its negative influence in your home. And here is something important that Padre Pio pointed out. Broken mirrors not only affect the material aspects of our lives, but can also interfere with our prayers and petitions. It is as if they create an invisible barrier that prevents our pleas from reaching clearly. Have you noticed that lately your prayers seem to go unheard? That no matter how much you ask with faith, the answers are slow to come? It could be that a broken mirror in your home is interfering with your spiritual connection. Listen, I am going to explain something that many people do not know. According to Padre Pio, mirrors are not mere decorative objects. They are energetic portals that can amplify both the positive and the negative. When they are intact and well placed, they can help multiply the blessings in your home. But when they are broken, they can multiply negative energies. And I am not just talking about completely shattered mirrors. Even those with small cracks or chips can be problematic. Do you have any mirrors at home that have even a tiny crack? It is time to remove them. Now, it is important to talk about how to properly dispose of these mirrors. It is not enough to simply throw them in the trash. Padre Pio taught us that we must do it respectfully and carefully. The first step is to wrap it in newspaper or cloth while praying a prayer for protection. Then we must dispose of it in a place where it cannot cause harm to anyone. And you know what is most interesting? Many people who have followed this advice report almost immediate changes in their homes. The atmosphere feels lighter, arguments decrease, and it seems that blessings begin to flow more easily. But be careful, it is not enough to just remove the broken mirror. It is also important to energetically cleanse the space where it was located. You can do this with a simple cleansing prayer or by sprinkling holy water in the area. And when placing a new mirror, make sure to bless it first. The placement of mirrors is also crucial. Padre Pio recommended not placing mirrors in front of beds or in places where they directly reflect prayer spaces. Why? Because they can interfere with our rest and our moments of spiritual connection. Now you may wonder, what happens if the broken mirror is very valuable or has sentimental meaning? In these cases, Padre Pio suggested that it is better to sacrifice the material object to maintain the spiritual peace of the home. Remember, no object is worth more than the tranquility and harmony of your family. And here is an additional tip. When removing broken mirrors from your home, it is a good time to also check the condition of all the mirrors in your household. Clean them with water and a bit of white vinegar while praying a prayer of protection. This will help them reflect and multiply only positive energies. And you know what else Padre Pio observed? In homes where broken mirrors were kept, it was common for people to experience recurring nightmares, insomnia, and a constant feeling of fatigue. Does any of this sound familiar? If so, it might be time to do a thorough inspection of your home. Now, brothers, let us talk about the second object that Padre Pio warned us we must remove from our homes: images or figures of owls. Yes, I know this may surprise many of you, especially because these objects have become very popular in home decor. How many of you right now have some owl figure in your home? Maybe in the living room, in your bedroom, or even as a decoration in the kitchen? They could be paintings, statuettes, or even patterns on cushions or blankets. Padre Pio was very specific about this. These objects may be acting as antennas for energies we do not want in our homes. Listen, it is not a coincidence that in many ancient cultures, the owl was considered a symbol of darkness. Padre Pio explained that, although these figures may seem decorative and harmless, they carry a very strong symbolic weight that can affect the peace of our homes. Have you noticed that when you have trouble sleeping or feel an inexplicable restlessness at night, there is often one of these figures nearby? Many people do not make this connection, but Padre Pio insisted that these objects can disrupt our rest and mental peace. And here is something important. It is not necessary for these objects to have been given with bad intentions. In fact, most of the time, they are gifts from people who care about us and are simply following a trend. But as Padre Pio taught us, the intention behind the gift does not change the effect these objects can have in our homes. Have you noticed that lately stores are full of these objects? Owls and jewelry, clothing, and home decor items? But we have to ask ourselves, why has it suddenly become so common to have these symbols in our homes? Padre Pio warned us that sometimes trends are not accidental, but can be subtle ways to introduce problematic elements into our homes. So what should we do if we have these objects in our homes? The process is similar to that of broken mirrors, but with some important differences. First, we must remove them respectfully, without fear, but with firmness. It is not necessary to break or destroy them. Just remove them from our space. And you know what is most interesting? Many people who have removed these figures from their homes report improvements in the family atmosphere. Arguments decrease, sleep improves, and it feels as if an invisible weight has been lifted from their homes. Padre Pio also taught us that after removing these objects, it is important to energetically cleanse the space where they were. You can use holy water or simply say a cleansing and protection prayer in that place. It is like closing a door that should not have been open. And here is a practical tip. If you have a gift with an owl figure and do not want to offend the person who gave it to you, you can kindly explain that you are making changes to your home decor. You do not need to go into details if you are not comfortable doing so. It is also important to mention that we should not only focus on obvious objects. Sometimes these images appear in less noticeable places, in calendars, jewelry, or bedding. Padre Pio invited us to do a thorough and detailed inspection of our homes. And what can we put in place of these objects? Padre Pio suggested replacing them with images or figures that truly help us on our spiritual journey. These could be images of angels, crosses, or simply natural elements that convey peace and harmony. Remember, it is not just about fashion or decoration. It is about creating an environment that truly protects us and helps us grow spiritually. Have you not noticed that there are spaces that, as soon as you enter, make you feel peace? That is what we should seek in our homes. And now we come to the third object that Padre Pio warned us we must remove from our homes. And this is perhaps the most important of all: decorative masks, especially those that represent faces or expressions. Did you know that masks have been used in rituals and ceremonies since ancient times? It is not by chance that Padre Pio placed special emphasis on these objects. Although we often buy them as mere decorative elements, thinking they add an artistic touch to our walls, they may be exerting a negative influence in our homes. Do you have any decorative masks in your home right now? Maybe in the living room, in the hallway, or even in your bedroom. They could be traditional masks, Venetian masks, or even those small decorative masks sold as souvenirs from trips. Padre Pio explained that these objects can act as entry points for energies we do not want in our sacred space. And listen, we are not talking only about large or striking masks. Even the small ones, those that seem harmless and that you may have bought as a keepsake from a trip, can have the same effect. Padre Pio insisted that the size of the object does not diminish its capacity to influence. Have you noticed that sometimes when you are in a room with masks, you feel as if someone is watching you? Or that there are spaces in your home where you simply do not feel comfortable without any apparent reason? It could be that a nearby mask is affecting the energy of that place. Now, it is important to understand why masks can be problematic. Padre Pio explained that masks, by their nature, represent concealment and duplicity. In our homes, we want everything to be clear, transparent, and full of light. Masks can create confusion and distort the positive energy that should flow freely. And you know what is most concerning? Many times these masks are placed in prominent places in our homes, as if they were presiding over our family spaces. Padre Pio warned that this can especially affect children, who are more sensitive to energies. So what should we do if we have masks in our homes? The removal process must be done with respect but with firmness. It is not necessary to destroy them, but we must completely remove them from our space. And here is something important. If the mask was a gift or has sentimental value, we can be grateful for the intention with which it was given, but understand that our spiritual peace is more important. Padre Pio also taught us that after removing the masks, we must energetically cleanse the space where they were. You can use holy water or say a protection prayer. It is especially important to do this in places where the masks have been for a long time. And what can we put in place of the masks? Padre Pio suggested decorating with images that inspire peace and tranquility. Something very interesting that Padre Pio mentioned is that homes free of masks tend to have clearer and more honest communication among their inhabitants. Does it not make sense? By eliminating symbols of concealment and duplicity, we promote transparency and truth in our family relationships. And here is a practical tip. When removing masks, do it preferably in the morning when the sunlight is strongest. Padre Pio said that natural light helps us in this process of cleansing and renewing our spaces. Remember, it is not just a matter of decoration or aesthetics. It is about creating an environment that truly protects us and allows us to grow spiritually. Have you not noticed that there are spaces that, as soon as you enter, transmit peace and clarity? That is what we should seek in our homes. Now that we know the three objects we must remove from our homes, let us talk about how we can keep our homes protected and filled with good energies, following Padre Pio's teachings. The first thing we must understand is that the spiritual cleansing of our home is not something we do once and forget about. It is an ongoing process, like tending a garden. Is it not true that a garden needs constant care to stay beautiful? Well, our home is the same. Padre Pio taught us that after removing these objects, It is essential to perform a complete spiritual cleansing of the house. You can start at the main entrance and move clockwise, room by room. As you do this, open the windows to let in fresh air and natural light. Do you know what else Padre Pio recommended? Keeping coarse salt in the corners of the house. Salt has natural purifying properties. You can place a small container of salt in each corner of the main rooms, changing it every week. Another important tip is about the placement of new decorative objects you choose to replace the ones you have removed. Padre Pio suggested that natural elements are always the best option. Plants, fresh flowers, river stones. These elements connect us with creation and attract positive energies. And here is something many do not know. Padre Pio recommended maintaining a regular routine of blessing our home. You do not need to wait for a priest to come. You yourselves can say a simple protection prayer every morning, especially in the places where the objects you removed were located. It is also important to create a specific space for prayer in your home. It does not need to be large or elaborate. A quiet corner with a candle and perhaps an image that inspires peace is enough. This space will act as an anchor of positive energy for the entire house. Remember that physical order and cleanliness are also important. Padre Pio taught that clutter can stagnate energy and make it harder for blessings to flow in our homes. Dedicate some time each day to keep your space tidy and clean. Last but not least, Padre Pio reminded us that the best protection for our home is to maintain an atmosphere of love and respect among its inhabitants. No spiritual cleansing will be fully effective if we allow negativity, arguments, and resentment to build up in our family relationships. Have you noticed that when the atmosphere at home is heavy, everything seems more difficult? That is why it is so important to maintain not only physical and spiritual cleanliness, but also to care for the quality of our family interactions. A home where there is love is a fortress against any negativity. Brothers and sisters, as we come to the close of this powerful message, inspired by Padre Pio's timeless wisdom, I am filled with a deep sense of gratitude and urgency to reflect on what we've learned today. The teachings we've explored, removing broken mirrors, owl figures, and decorative masks from our homes, are not just about physical objects, but about transforming our lives into spaces of peace, clarity, and divine connection. These objects, as Padre Pio warned, can subtly disrupt the flow of blessings, create unseen barriers in our spiritual lives, and weigh down the energy of our homes. Learning about their impact has been a wake-up call, reminding me how the smallest things in our environment can carry profound spiritual significance. It's humbling to realize that our homes, which we often see as mere shelters, are sacred temples where God's presence should dwell freely. This realization stirs a sense of responsibility to be intentional about what we allow into our spaces, knowing that even seemingly harmless items can affect our family's harmony and our connection with the divine. What strikes me most is Padre Pio's emphasis on action. He didn't just point out the problem, he gave us clear, practical steps to reclaim our homes as sanctuaries. This resonates deeply with me because it's a reminder that faith isn't passive. It requires courage to make changes, even when it means letting go of objects we've held on to for sentimental reasons or out of habit. I feel inspired by the idea that something as simple as removing a cracked mirror or a decorative mask can shift the atmosphere of a home, making room for love, healing, and prosperity. It's empowering to know that we have the ability to shape our surroundings in ways that align with God's light. At the same time, I'm reminded of the importance of ongoing care. Padre Pio's advice to cleanse our homes regularly with prayer, holy water, or natural elements like salt speaks to the need for vigilance in our spiritual lives. Just as we tidy our physical spaces, we must continually nurture the spiritual energy of our homes to keep them vibrant and protected. Applying these lessons to daily life feels both practical and transformative. I've started looking at my own home with fresh eyes, asking myself, are there objects here that might be holding back God's blessings? It's a question I hadn't considered before, but now it feels essential. I'm motivated to do a thorough walkthrough, checking for cracked mirrors or decorations that don't align with the peace I want to cultivate. Beyond that, I'm committed to making my home a place of intentional positivity, keeping it clean and orderly, yes, but also filling it with love and respect in every interaction with my family. Padre Pio's teachings remind me that a home isn't just about aesthetics. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels safe, valued, and connected to something greater. I've also taken to heart his suggestion to create a prayer corner, a small but sacred space where I can pause each day to reconnect with God. These small changes feel like steps toward a bigger goal, living a life that's spiritually grounded and open to God's grace. The broader lesson here is one of mindfulness and discernment. Padre Pio's warnings encourage us to question the things we accept into our lives, not just objects, but habits, influences, and even relationships. How often do we let things linger in our lives out of convenience or ignorance, not realizing they're draining our energy or distancing us from our purpose? This message has taught me to be more proactive in seeking out what uplifts and protects my spirit, while letting go of what doesn't serve my walk with God. It's a call to live deliberately, to make choices that honor our faith and our families. I feel a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that every step I take to align my home with these principles is an act of love, for myself, for my loved ones, and for God. Now, dear friends, the time for reflection must lead to action. I challenge you to take what you've learned today and put it into practice. Walk through your home today, yes, today, and look for those broken mirrors, owl figures, or masks that might be silently affecting your space. Make a plan to remove them with respect and faith, and don't stop there. Commit to keeping your home a sanctuary by praying over it, cleansing it, and filling it with love. Share this message with someone you care about, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, who might need this wisdom to transform their own home. And imagine the ripple effect of every household becoming a beacon of God's light because you chose to act. Before we part, I want to ask you to do something from the heart. If this message has moved you, if you're ready to make your home a true sanctuary, write in the comments, "I receive this blessing." Your words will inspire others and affirm your commitment to this journey. And please, don't keep this wisdom to yourself. Hit that share button and send this video to someone who needs it. Your share could be the spark that changes a family's life. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a message like this, filled with guidance to protect and uplift your home. And if this video has touched your heart, give it a like. Your support helps us reach more people who, like you, are seeking to live in God's peace. Thank you for being here, for opening your heart to Padre Pio's teachings, and for choosing to make your home a place of blessings. Never forget, you have the power to create a space where love and faith flourish. The transformation begins now, and it begins with you. Let's do this together, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you and your home.